We start in Bangkok, Thailand. On December 31st, 2008, the Santika Club, one of the most popular nightclubs in the city among young Thais and foreign tourists, threw a New Year's Eve party with a name that, in hindsight, became impossible to ignore. Goodbye, Santika, Countdown to 2009. The party was called that because the club was relocating to a new venue. It was literally their last night in that building. 1,000 people inside. Live music. Countdowns. Everything a celebration night was supposed to be. And at 12:35 in the morning, 35 minutes into the new year, the fire started. The Santika had a legal occupancy of 408 people. That night, there were more than double that. And what makes this case particularly hard to process from an educational standpoint is this. The club had one main exit available to the public. One. A second exit existed but was reserved for staff only. And the third door was locked shut to prevent theft. When the fire spread from the ceiling, possibly from outdoor fireworks that hit the roof or sparks from the stage countdown display, it consumed the entire interior in under 10 minutes. The acoustic insulation material on the ceiling, made of plastic and tar paper, acted as fuel. People who lost consciousness from the burning plastic fumes couldn't reach the exit. Survivors described climbing over others just to get to the door. The name of the band playing on stage that night, Burn.
I was walking to the side entrance. It's a clear glass, see-through entrance. The next thing I saw was a huge flame shooting from the bottom. Less than 1 second did I realize that the flame was just enormous. It was just too big.
By the end, 67 people were gone. 222 others were hospitalized with burns and serious injuries. The club owner was eventually sentenced to 3 years in prison for negligence. The investigation revealed the safety system had been classified as substandard, and that the nightclub was actually registered as a food vendor, meaning it was legally required to close at midnight. They were celebrating inside a venue that technically should not have been open at that hour. The Bund in Shanghai is one of the most photographed waterfronts in the world. Facing the Huangpu River, with the illuminated skyline behind it, every New Year's Eve it draws hundreds of thousands of people to watch the light show. In 2014, the city authorities actually canceled the official light show in that area and moved it to a different location, specifically to avoid overcrowding. The announcement was made that same afternoon. Nobody changed their plans.
Stampede. La policía, desbordada, casi no puede hacer nada. Hay heridos por todas partes. La mayoría, estudiantes universitarios. La fiesta se convierte en tragedia y los hospitales se llenan de víctimas.
Recuerdo que estaba de pie, me desmayé y cuando me desperté estaba tirada en el suelo.
At 11:35 p.m., with 25 minutes to midnight, a massive crowd tried to climb onto an elevated platform for a better view of the festivities. At the same time, others were trying to come down. The steps of Chenyi Square became a human bottleneck. When someone fell, the domino effect was immediate. The people at the back couldn't see what was happening at the front. They kept pushing forward. A witness named Yin described it this way. The steps were full of people. Some wanted to get down and some wanted to go up. We were caught in the middle and saw some girls falling while screaming. Then people started to fall down, row by row. That night, 500 police officers had been deployed. For an area where over 300,000 people were expected to show up, authorities later admitted they had underestimated the number of attendees. 36 people lost their lives that night. Most were young college students between 16 and 36 years old. 25 of the 36 were women. The youngest was 16 years old. The local police commander publicly acknowledged the failure. Investigations followed. The district party official was eventually removed from his position. But none of those consequences gave those people back their night. This case is different from the previous ones in scale, but not in weight. Because among the 9 who lost their lives that night in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, there were children, a 10-year-old boy, an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old, and because the immediate trigger was an instruction given over a microphone by the event's master of ceremonies. Was Uganda's first New Year's Eve without COVID-19 restrictions in 3 years. 3 years of waiting. The Freedom City Mall, located on the highway between Kampala and Entebbe International Airport, hosted a large event to ring in 2023. Inside the venue, exactly at midnight, the MC announced over the microphone that everyone should go outside to watch the fireworks display. The problem? The organizers had blocked most of the entrances to prevent people from entering without paying. When everyone tried to exit at the same time through the few available corridors, the pressure was instant. Survivor Sylvia Nakalema, 27, described it this way. There was a huge crowd. People started pushing each other, which made some people fall. Children were crying and it was chaos. I survived because I was pushed into a corner. At one point, I felt I was losing my breath. The police spokesperson said the incident was caused by rash acts and negligence.
It was 30 minutes to midnight. Then MC told us that we should go up and watch fireworks from the parking up. Then as we were going up, they told us, now you have to go back.
5 people died instantly. 4 more on the way to the hospital from suffocation. 9 in total. Most of them young, several of them children. It was the first free New Year's celebration in 3 years, and it ended at the Mulago City Mortuary. Reina was arguably the most exclusive nightclub in Istanbul. Overlooking the Bosphorus Strait in the Ortaköy neighborhood, it was known for attracting celebrities, diplomats, and high-profile tourists. On the night of December 31st, 2016, approximately 600 people were inside celebrating the arrival of 2017. Outside, there was one police officer guarding the entrance. At 1:15 in the morning, that officer was shot down.
Officers arrived and took us out. My husband was shot in 3 places.
Closed-circuit TV pictures show a gunman firing in the street outside the club. People are said to have jumped into the nearby Bosphorus River to try to escape.
The attacker arrived at Reina armed with an automatic rifle. According to the subsequent investigation, he had originally planned to attack Taksim Square, but abandoned that plan due to the high security presence there. Reina, by contrast, had a single officer at the door. He entered the club and fired more than 180 rounds in an attack that lasted 7 minutes. Some people jumped into the Bosphorus to escape, with temperatures near freezing, choosing to risk the water over staying inside. When it was over, the attacker changed his clothes in the club kitchen and blended in with the fleeing crowd. He wasn't captured until 17 days later. 39 people had lost their lives. 79 more were wounded. The victims were citizens of 14 different countries. 7 of them were Saudi nationals who had traveled specifically to Istanbul to celebrate New Year's Eve.
Tragedy. For me, I wake up in the United States, I eat breakfast. You guys wake up and have to think of this. It's so sad, and I really wish everybody here the best.
Wishing for the best after what was a tragic start to a new year.
ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack. The perpetrator, Uzbek national Abdulkadir Masharipov, was later sentenced by a Turkish court to life in prison plus an additional 1,368 years. The detail that's impossible to set aside. He chose Reina specifically because, compared to other potential targets, it had less security. One event planning decision, one single insufficient security measure, and 39 people who walked in to dance and didn't walk back out. The previous cases happened in nightclubs, massive waterfronts, shopping malls, luxury venues. This one happened on a residential street in the Aliamanu neighborhood of Honolulu. A Filipino family, a neighbor's party, and illegal fireworks. Hawaii has a deeply rooted tradition of setting off fireworks on New Year's Eve. In neighborhoods, between families, right out in the street. It's part of the culture. But in recent years, professional-grade aerial fireworks, which technically require special permits, have been growing more and more common in the hands of private individuals, bought informally through unofficial channels.
What you're looking at behind me is a war zone. This was a mass casualty.
Governor Green says it was a large amount of fireworks that ignited all at once that created the deadly scenario.
My feeling was it was a bomb went off, really.
Jack Ka'ovai, who lives a few houses down, was one of the people who called 911.
A lot of people...
On the night of December 31st, 2024, someone at the party at 4144 Kiaka Drive lit a bundle of aerial fireworks, an aerial cake, a multi-shot box of rockets. The device fell on its side when ignited. The rockets fired sideways directly into 2 additional crates of aerial fireworks stored right next to it. The explosion was immediate and massive. More than 26 people were transported to hospitals. 6 of those closest to the blast had burns covering over 60% of their bodies. 6 of the most critically injured had to be airlifted to the Arizona Burn Center in Phoenix, the largest medical evacuation in Hawaii since the 2023 Maui wildfires. Honolulu's Director of Emergency Services, Dr. James Ireland, said that in over 30 years on the job, it was probably one of the worst calls I've ever been on as far as just the immense tragedy and amount of patience and severity of the injuries.
You asked the question about what it was like. Okay, the gentle part of it was you're on the scene and you see one boxing glove and you see one Birkenstock shoe from a child, okay? The truth is that people had traumatic injuries so badly that brain material was across the side.
Of the 6 patients with critical burns, none left the hospital within days. Cassius Ramos Benigno, 3 years old, passed away on January 6th. The 6th victim, Chastina Ramos, 30 years old, passed away on February 5th, 2025. 6 people in total, including a 3-year-old boy, at a neighborhood party, on a street where, according to the residents themselves, everybody knows everybody. Friends became family. Hawaii's authorities had been warning about illegal professional-grade fireworks for years. They intercepted 187,000 pounds of illegal fireworks in 2023 alone. They kept circulating anyway. 5 New Year's Eve nights, 5 different countries. And in every single case, investigators, witnesses, and survivors arrived at the same conclusion. This didn't have to happen. A club with a single exit, over capacity, with flammable material on the ceiling. A massive event where they removed the official show but not the crowd. An MC who said, "Go outside," without knowing the exits were blocked. A luxury club with a single officer at the door. A family party with illegal professional fireworks stored in boxes next to each other. There were no monsters in these stories. There was negligence. There were bad decisions. There were systems that failed. And there were people who simply went out to celebrate New Year's Eve, the same way any one of us has done, or will do. That's what makes these moments worth documenting. Not for spectacle, but because memory is the only way the present can learn something from the past. If this video made you think about something, that was the point.